Hey everyone, Leanne here from healthfulpursuit.com. I am recording up here on YouTube and down here for my Instagram friends. Today I wanted to go through a bunch of your fasting questions. I have been eating a ketogenic diet since 2014 and I started keto so that I could regulate my hormones. Now, fast forward 6 years later and I have had a period successfully for the last 5 years. I've healed a lot of my hormone imbalances and so I've started fasting longer recently. Over about the last year, I've been playing around with longer term fasts. And the really interesting thing about the ketogenic diet, about fasting, is that generally the information that's out there on the internet that you'll see in a lot of the programs are really geared toward men. And so us women need to take fasting really seriously. Now, if you have a massive insulin regulation issue like insulin resistance or PCOS, maybe depending on where you're at with that, you are going to fast longer and harder for some, as opposed to somebody that's really just wanting to balance their hormones, regulate their weight, and those sorts of things. Your fasting protocol is going to be different. So the main thing that I want you to take away from this is fasting every day the same way doesn't really work for women. And so I want you to think of fasting as having your fasting home base and then your fasting like special protocols. And so your home base is going to be at any time, any day, you can fast 16 to 18 hours max. Okay, 16 to 18 hours max. And then there are special days, about 3 days, maybe 4 out of the month, where you can go a lot longer in your fasting. And so I want to preface here that I am referring to women that are still getting their cycle. They have not experienced menopause. Okay, for women that have experienced menopause, you can really do whatever you want as it relates to your fasting. It's totally fine. You can fast long, hard, slow, whatever you want to do. We're going to get into some of your Q&As a little bit later on how to fast properly. And so first off, I wanted to highlight when the best time is to fast and when not to fast. So again, 16 to 18 hour max every day. Now, some days you're going to find, especially during ovulation and right before your cycle, it is almost impossible to fast 16 hours, 18 hours. I'm lucky to get 12 before I'm like, I really need something to eat. So if that's you, that's totally fine. The best time to fast longer, okay, so these are your 24-hour fasts, 36, 48 longer fasts are going to be anywhere from day 1 to 10 of your cycle. So this is what the day you bleed up to the 10th day, and then right following ovulation, you have 3 magical days following your ovulation. That's usually around day 14, 15, 16, depending on how long your cycle is, where you can fast longer. So let's review. Any day of the month, whether you are in menopause or anything, you can fast 16 to 18 hours a day. Then, okay, if you are still having a cycle, okay, you can fast 24, 36, 48 hours, okay? Okay, 24, 36, 48 hours between days 1 to 10, and then the 3 days following your ovulation. Make sense? Okay, for those of you who are already in menopause, you can really fast whenever you want. Once a week, do a 24-hour fast, mixy-matchy or 18-hour, 16-hour, doesn't matter. But if you are still menstruating, you're going to want to follow the protocol that I just shared with you. So now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to answer some of your questions. I received a lot of questions, so if it ends up being that we have to make a couple videos on this, that's totally fine, no worries at all. So the first question, how do you fast and push through hunger and blood sugar dips? This is a really great question. So the big, if you are wearing a continuous glucose monitor or you check your glucose with just a pinprick, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I'll include a link up here and down below on my continuous glucose monitor videos so you can find out what that's about. But if you're testing your glucose, if it goes below 55, you need to eat, okay? So that's kind of like the number, 50, 55. If it dips below that, you have to break your fast. How do you push through the hunger? get busy doing something else. Now, the longer you fast, and if you are starting to fast through a ketogenic diet, you're going to find that the hunger is a lot less intense. If you are not following a ketogenic diet and you're trying to fast, it might be that the hunger is quite intense for the first little bit and starts to dissipate when you hit like the 24-hour mark and beyond. Now, I don't recommend that the first time you fast, you do like a 24 or 48-hour fast. That can be a little bit too hardcore, especially for those that are first getting started. But how do you push past the hunger? Drink a lot of water and hope for the best. Now, there are different types of fasts. So there are water-only fasts, there are bone broth fasts, there are coffee and tea and water fasts. I like to mix it up, okay? So sometimes I'm doing a fatty coffee on my 16, 18-hour fasts, and so technically that's breaking the fast, but I'm also regulating my glucose, so it's also considered a fast. Another big takeaway I want you to take from this video is that you get to customize it. Not every protocol is best for every person, and not every protocol is best for every day. And so there might be days where you really want a fatty coffee, so you have that fatty coffee and it extends your glucose regulating fast, and then you break your glucose regulating fast a little bit later. Now, there might be days where you just want to do water, and so you drink water all morning. There might be days where you just want to do bone broth, so you drink bone broth all morning. Another thing I'm playing around with recently is eating breakfast. Not true. It's like brunch and a late lunch, early dinner, and then fasting for the rest of the evening. So my fasting window has been recently like 8 to 2 or 10 to 4, like that sort of in there, maybe 10 to 6 sometimes. I find that when I eat later at night, though it does help my digestion, I find that I'm much more prone to eating even later. So like I'll stay up until midnight and then I'll really be hungry because my last meal was at 8 o'clock. Whereas if I stop eating around 4 p.m., 6 p.m., I'm able to extend it a little bit longer. So again, a big takeaway is you get to make it work for you. So there are some days where I fast throughout the evening. There are some days where I fast throughout the morning, and it really allows you to play with your schedule and also understand when you're the most hungry. If you're the most hungry in the morning and you just can't get around it and you keep breaking your fast, why not try to fast in the evening and vice versa? Another question is, what do I do if I'm fasting? I'm low carb but not keto and I get so hangry. Okay, the hangry really takes some time to level out. Now again, fasting on a ketogenic diet is far easier than fasting on a low carb diet or fasting on a paleo diet because you don't have those carbohydrates. You're not going to have those swings. You're not going to have the same hunger and satiation experiences. So it is going to be a little bit more challenging. The tip I can provide to you is to start off with maybe a bone broth fast or a fatty coffee fast, where when you wake up, you're having this bone broth or fatty coffee, it satiates you, and then you have your lunch and dinner. And do this a couple of times to get in the groove of it, and then maybe, cut down on your fatty coffee or cut down completely off your bone broth and try doing just water or just tea or just black coffee. Okay, so that's it for today. I got to 2 of your questions and also set the base of what we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks as it relates to fasting. So if you want to learn more about this, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Leanne Vogel if you don't already, so you'll get alerts on that. And if you're watching here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. There's a button right over there, and click the little bell so that you're notified when I come out with a new fasting video. And I got a lot of questions, so it's going to take us a little while to get through this. I'm so excited to share more about fasting and how you can fast as a woman on your ketogenic diet. So I will see you soon, and have a great rest of your day.